The scream tore through the quiet morning like a blade through silk. It came from the riverbank, sharp, terrified, and unmistakably human. The women pounding yam at the edge of the village froze, pestles midair. Birds scattered from the trees in frightened flutters. When the villagers ran toward the sound, they found Precious kneeling beside the river, trembling, her reflection staring back at her, a reflection that no longer looked like her. If you are a lover of African folktales, kindly subscribe because you are on the right channel. Now back to the story. The girl in the water had blotched, wrinkled skin. Her once glowing eyes were dull, her full lips cracked, and her hair hung in matted clumps. The beauty that had once made men stammer and women envious was gone. The river rippled cruelly, distorting her ruined face further. Precious screamed again and clutched her cheeks, shaking. How can this be?" she cried. "What happened to me?" Only one person in the gathered crowd didn't look surprised. From a distance, leaning on her crooked staff, Mama Koko watched silently. Her eyes gleamed like dying embers. "When the heart is ugly," she said, her voice calm but chilling, "beauty becomes a mask that cannot stay." Then she turned and hobbled away. The villagers whispered. They had seen this coming. Just a day before, the market had been buzzing under the hot sun. The smell of roasted maize and palm oil filled the air, traders shouting prices, goats bleating. Precious had walked through the crowd like a queen among peasants, her gold wrapper glittering, her face powdered, her steps slow and deliberate. Men turned their heads as she passed, women muttered beneath their breath. She bumped into Mama Koko, an old woman bent nearly double, her load of firewood heavy on her back. The wood scattered across the ground. "Are you blind, old woman?" Precious snapped, fanning herself with irritation. Mama Koko struggled to kneel, her voice soft. "My child, you bumped into me. My eyes are weak." But Precious only scoffed. "Then stay in your hut instead of blocking the road like a dying tree." The market went silent. All eyes turned to her. Mama Koko looked up, her face shadowed under her scarf. "Beauty," she whispered, "is a gift the wind can take away." Precious laughed mockingly. "Then let the wind try." That night, when the moon was high, the wind did come. It howled through the thatched roofs, rustling the mango trees. Precious stirred in her sleep, hearing whispers she couldn't understand. By morning, her beauty was gone. Now, at the riverbank, she remembered everything, the insult, the laughter, the old woman's eyes. "Please," she cried, running barefoot toward Mama Koko's hut. "Please undo it. I didn't mean to offend you." The old woman didn't open her door. Her voice came through the bamboo wall, rough and distant. "What is done cannot be undone by words. You wounded the heart of humility. The curse will only lift when you learn to love what you once despised." Precious knelt in the sand, her tears soaking the dust. "Tell me what to do, Mama Koko. Please. You must marry the ugliest man alive," came the slow, heavy answer. "And love him not with your eyes, but with your soul. Only then will your beauty return." The door creaked open. Mama Koko's wrinkled face appeared, half in shadow. "Until then," she whispered, "your mirror shall show you who you truly are." 4 days, Precious locked herself in her hut, avoiding the sun. Children ran past chanting cruel songs. Friends who once envied her now whispered pity behind their hands. Even the men who used to linger at her gate no longer came. Her pride shattered piece by piece. Hunger gnawed her belly, and loneliness grew like vines around her heart. Then one night, as rain drummed on her roof, she heard a knock 3 times, slow and heavy. She hesitated before opening the door. A stranger stood there, drenched, holding a crooked walking stick. His skin was rough and scarred, his back bent, his teeth brown as cola nuts. The smell of sweat and wet earth clung to him. "Are you Precious?" he asked, his voice deep but broken. She nodded weakly. "I heard of your curse," the man said. "They call me Barak. I came because, perhaps I am the one you must marry." Precious's heart pounded. The rain hissed around them like a warning. She looked at his twisted face, and fear crawled through her veins. But then, somewhere deep inside her, something whispered, "This is where your journey begins." And in that trembling moment, under the weeping sky, Precious faced the first test of her heart. The wedding was small, quiet, and filled with uneasy whispers. Only a few villagers came, mostly out of curiosity. Precious stood beside Barak beneath the old baobab tree, her veil trembling in the wind. The priest's words floated over her like smoke, but her mind was elsewhere. She could not stop looking at the man beside her, his crooked teeth, the scar slicing across his cheek, the way he coughed every few seconds as though his lungs were filled with dust. When the priest told her to repeat her vows, her lips trembled. I take you, Barak. The words felt heavy in her mouth, bitter as neem leaves. The villagers murmured, some hiding smiles. Only Mama Koko, watching from a distance, nodded slowly, as if she had been waiting for this day all her life. When the ceremony ended, Barak took her hand, his rough palm scratching her soft skin. "Let's go home," he said. His voice was low, commanding. Home turned out to be a small hut at the edge of the village, where weeds grew tall around the door and the roof sagged like a tired back. Inside, the air smelled of old sweat and smoke. Precious's heart sank. Her once perfect nails trembled as she placed her bag on the floor. "Clean the floor," Barak said, tossing her a rag. "And make something to eat." "I don't like lazy women." She froze. He didn't even thank me. Her first instinct was to shout, to remind him who she was, the same Precious who once had servants and suitors bringing gifts. But when she saw her reflection in a rusty pot, she swallowed her pride. The ugly face stared back. That was her reminder. She scrubbed the floor until her hands ached, cooked yam and bitter leaf soup, and served him quietly. He ate greedily, without a word of appreciation. When he finished, he pushed the bowl aside. "Next time," he muttered, "put more salt." Precious turned away so he wouldn't see the tears forming in her eyes. That night, she lay awake listening to the crickets sing outside. Her body ached, but something heavier pressed on her chest, shame. Days turned into weeks. Barak remained harsh, his words cutting deeper than thorns. Yet Precious endured, not because she loved him, but because the faint hope of redemption flickered in her heart. Every morning, she fetched water, cooked, and washed his clothes without complaint. The villagers watched in disbelief. Precious, the proud peacock of Ogel village, now bent under the weight of chores. One morning, as she drew water from the well, a group of children began to laugh behind her. "Look, it's the cursed beauty," one shouted. "She married a monster." Precious turned, forcing a smile. But when she saw the smallest among them struggling to lift a water pot, her heart softened. She walked over and helped the little girl, steadying the pot on her head. "Be careful," she said gently. The laughter stopped. The other children stared. For the first time in years, Precious's voice held no pride, only kindness. That afternoon, while returning home, she saw Mama Koko sitting by the road, struggling with a bundle of firewood. Precious hesitated. Her hands trembled. But something inside her, something new, urged her forward. "Mema," she said softly, "let me help you." The old woman looked up, her face unreadable. "You?" "Yes," Precious said. She lifted the bundle onto her head and walked beside her in silence. As they walked, Mama Koko studied her. "Pain is a better teacher than pride," she murmured. "You're beginning to understand." When Precious returned home, Barak was waiting by the door, angry. "Where have you been?" "My food is cold." "I was helping Mama Koko," she said quietly. "Helping?" He laughed bitterly. "You think that old witch deserves your kindness?" Precious said nothing. She simply took the cold food, reheated it, and placed it before him. That night, after he slept, she sat outside under the moon. The crickets sang again, but this time, the sound comforted her. She looked at the sky and whispered, "Maybe beauty is not what I lost, maybe it's what I'm learning." From the shadows behind a tree, Mama Koko watched with faint approval. The wind brushed through her grey hair as if whispering a secret. The next morning, Barak fell ill. His breathing grew shallow, his eyes sunken. Precious cared for him day and night, bathing his forehead, feeding him soup, and praying softly. Despite his cruelty, she felt compassion growing inside her like a flame she couldn't extinguish. When he finally opened his eyes, weak and trembling, he whispered, Why do you care for me?" Because love is not only for the beautiful, she said. It's for those who need it most. He turned his face away, tears slipping down his cheek. At that very moment, something strange happened. The air around them shimmered faintly, like the beginning of a dream. A soft light flickered across Precious's face, though she didn't notice. From somewhere far away, the voice of Mama Koko echoed softly in the wind, "You are learning, child. But the journey is not yet complete." The storm came at midnight. Thunder roared across the sky like an angry drum, and lightning split the clouds in white fury. Precious sat beside Barak, who lay coughing on their bamboo bed. The wind pushed through the cracks in the walls, carrying the scent of rain and mud. She covered him with a cloth, whispering prayers under her breath. "Sleep, my husband," she said softly. "You'll be well soon." Barak groaned. His face was pale, his body trembling. "You should have left me to die," he murmured weakly. "I've treated you like a servant." Precious wiped his face gently. "No one deserves to die unloved." He looked at her for a long moment, his dull eyes softening for the first time. "You're not the same woman I married," he whispered. She smiled faintly. "Neither are you." Outside, the storm raged, but inside, peace began to grow, fragile, tender, real. Precious stayed awake all night, holding his hand, whispering stories to keep him calm. When morning came, the storm was gone, but Barak's breathing had stopped. She froze. For a moment, the world was silent. Then a cry tore from her throat, a raw, aching sound that carried across the village. She wept beside him until the sun rose high, washing the hut in gold. Though he had been cruel, he had also been the man through whom she had found her heart again. The villagers came to bury him near the mango tree behind their hut. Precious stood still as they covered the grave with red earth. When it was done, she knelt and whispered, "Thank you for being my mirror." That night, she couldn't sleep. The hut felt empty, echoing with memories. As she sat outside, the wind changed, soft, sweet, and full of whispers. The scent of burning herbs filled the air. A warm light glowed near the riverbank. Precious rose slowly and followed it, barefoot, her heart pounding. There, standing by the river, was Mama Koko. The old woman's eyes glowed faintly under the moonlight. The water shimmered like glass. "You've done well, my child," Mama Koko said. "You have learned to love, not with your eyes, but with your soul." Precious fell to her knees. "He died, Mama. I couldn't save him." Mama Koko's wrinkled face softened. "He was never meant to stay. His journey ended when yours began." Tears streamed down Precious's face. "Then why does my heart still ache?" "Because love leaves footprints," the old woman said gently. "But do not weep, for the curse is broken." Before Precious could speak, a sudden warmth enveloped her. The wind circled her body in a soft spiral, lifting her hair. The river glowed brighter, and the reflection staring back at her shimmered, then changed. Her face, once ruined, bloomed with beauty again. Her skin glowed like polished bronze, her eyes sparkled like dawn. But this time, her beauty felt different, gentle, humble, earned. When she turned to thank Mama Koko, the old woman was gone. Only the scent of herbs and a whisper in the wind remained. True beauty lives in the heart. The next morning, when Precious returned to the village, the people gasped. Some fell to their knees, others touched her arm in disbelief. "Her beauty has returned," they cried. But Precious no longer cared for their praise. Instead of flaunting her looks, she used her days to help others. She fetched water for widows, taught children to read under the shade of the baobab tree, and visited the sick. When she passed through the market, she smiled at everyone, including those who once mocked her. One day, as she sold vegetables in the market, a royal carriage stopped beside her stall. The Prince of Idea stepped out, tall and handsome, his robe shimmering like the river at sunset. He looked at her not with admiration, but with quiet wonder. "Are you Precious? The woman who helped rebuild the orphan hut by the stream?" he asked. "Yes," Precious said, bowing slightly. He smiled. "Then you are the kind of beauty my heart seeks." The villagers watched in awe as he offered her his hand. Precious hesitated, remembering Barak, the man who had unknowingly taught her love's true weight. Then she placed her hand in the prince's and said softly, "If it is love that honors the soul, not the face, then I accept." Their wedding was grand, but what moved the people most was not her gown or her jewels, it was the way she knelt to serve food to the elderly and greeted even the poorest guest with warmth. In time, songs were sung about her, the girl whose pride turned to grace, whose curse became her blessing. Mothers told their daughters, "Remember, precious, for beauty without humility is like a flower without scent." The moral: pride darkens the heart, but humility makes it shine. True beauty is not what the eyes see, it's what the soul gives. The end. Thank you for watching this story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What did you learn from this story? And please share the story out with your loved ones. Give the story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now until I bring another story.